I actually believe feeling stuck is an amazing thing because what it means is that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. You're on the verge of expanding who you actually are as a human being and bringing way more into your life. To me, what it means is like that discomfort within that of this stuckness, right? It means that there is a part of you, a higher part of you, a kind of like your best self, is actually screaming at you within for change. It's just letting you know that something is off. So it can feel like things like just feeling like you're in a rut, lacking some purpose. Maybe you're struggling with stress or overwhelm, exhaustion. You're overwhelmed with work. Maybe your relationship just feels a little bit stale and just has a stuckness to it. Perhaps you're starting to have some difficulty sticking to habits or healthy habits that maybe have been easy for you in the past, or maybe they're things that you want to do and you just have a tough time sticking to them. It can also just feel like there's a general sense of not doing enough. You know, I grew up playing sports, was a collegiate athlete, ended up getting into sales, became a #1 sales rep in my company, made President's Club, moved across to New York City to manage a sales office. Everything was going amazing. Everything was great on paper. And all of a sudden, I kind of started to feel like I was in a rut. I started to feel stuck. And that was the beginning of a 4-year decline, a 4-year period where I really dropped into a pretty deep depression. I had this general sense of like, man, I reached these goals. I got to this level. I'm making this money. I'm living in this amazing city. But why actually does none of it really feel like it makes sense for me? And I just kept spinning my tires though, because on paper, everything looked great. But inside, I felt more stuck than I ever had in my whole life. I didn't really have a clear direction. I stopped waking up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to the gym. I started to only look forward to Saturdays because I could kind of escape from this life I had created. I could escape from the week and I could just go have some beers with my buddies. And fast forward 4 years of struggling with that and, moving cities 4 times in 4 years, changing jobs 4 times in 4 years. I was trying to find the antidote or the solution to this stuckness. And ultimately, I kept going, lower and lower and was losing motivation, started to feel lazy, just didn't become, I just wasn't the sales rep I had been, or the employee, or the person, really. I lost a lot of passion, a lot of fire. And I ended up getting fired. I lost my sales role. And I was just in this place where I'm like, man, what the heck is next? Like, what do I actually do? So in this video, I'm just going to share, 10 small tips that are actually really big tips, right? And things that I lean on that I think and I believe really will help you get out of this feeling of being stuck. I want to just interject with one quote that I love that I came across, and it is, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And that's by Jim Rohn. And, this other idea that, hey, we can't create the life we want by trying to avoid the life we don't want. And that was something I was doing every single day, right? I was just waiting for life to happen. I was waiting to get unstuck on its own. And I didn't realize that life was actually asking for me to step the fuck up and to start tuning in to my real self and who I was, and start taking things, more seriously, and start, exploring my passions and learning more and using my skill set and helping other people. So hopefully these 10 tips help you out. The first thing is, that I did to get back on track is I started with a morning routine. I knew for me that how I start my days impacts my whole week, impacts my whole month, impacts my whole life. So I got very particular about what I was doing every morning. I started waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. I jumped right into a cold shower, doing a 60-second cold shower, which, by the way, super hard for the first 2 days. And then the third day I started to get in the rhythm of it, but it just like boosted my mood. It made me alert, it made me focused. And after getting out of the cold shower, I would go and just journal really quickly. And I would focus on things like I do a check-in, how am I feeling? I would then write one thing I was grateful for, and then I would look ahead for the day. How do I want to show up today? Do I want to be a leader? Do I want to be confident? Do I want to be calm? Do I want to be helpful? Do I want to make somebody laugh? Something that wasn't just a checkbox like I got to make sure I make a video, right? Instead, it was how do I actually show up? And so doing that every single day completely changed my whole life. Okay, so that's the first thing. Like the first thing I always have my clients do is we start with the morning routine and make your bed, no matter what, even if you're in a hotel room. Okay, second thing is learning to face your darkness, face your resistance. So much we have this inner critic, this negative voice, this voice that has been driving us that we are so used to burying, pushing to the side, whether it is with social media, Netflix, drugs, alcohol, gambling, whatever it is, and we don't want to face ourselves. We have this apprehension and aversion to just sitting with the stillness of our own soul, of our own thoughts, right? And what facing your darkness simply means is, what are the areas in your life that are causing the most resistance, or causing the most friction, that maybe you get upset with most, that gives you the most insecurity or anxiety or inadequacy. And what I mean by facing your darkness is, instead of what most people do, again, of like putting it in the corner and avoiding it, we just face it, and you become curious with it, and you just try to understand what it is trying to communicate to you. Especially as men, it can be really easy to just bury all of these hard feelings and thoughts that come up. And the truest way that we can really grow and evolve as a human being is to sit with those parts of us, is to take time and just be with them. Ask them what they need. Just be curious. Go into a state of inquiry, meaning like, that's really interesting. I wonder why I was feeling that way here. Like, where did this come from? When was the first time I ever believed this? Like, why do I believe this? Why am I allowing this belief to still run my life as a grown-ass man? This is something that maybe happened to me as a kid. Like, is this really how I want to live moving forward? And not doing it from a place of judgment or shame or guilt, which is kind of the natural inclination of the ego, but instead doing it from a place, again, of curiosity, of love, of compassion, in doing it to truly, truly understand why you're feeling this way. And what that actually starts to do is it opens up all types of possibilities for how you can move forward. And it just brings a lot of ease and freedom and peace and presence back into your life. And that's important for laying the foundation to getting unstuck. Okay, third thing. Obsess with learning. Get back into a state, again, that is full of curiosity, imagination. Like, become a beginner again. Become a student again. Obsess with the process. Obsess with learning about how to get unstuck. Obsess with figuring out, why am I stuck? Why do people get stuck? What does this mean? Why do I think that it makes me less than? Why am I comparing myself to other people who feel like or seem like they have it all figured out? That's super interesting. It doesn't matter so much what you decide to learn. What matters is that you start to obsess with it, right? In a good way, a good, healthy way, right? Meaning like you get back into a state of growth and evolution. That's really what feeling stuck is asking of us, is calling us forward to be like, hey man, we're ready to bloom, we're ready to blossom, but you have the cage. You're kind of keeping us nice and tight in this little snow globe. And we just got to bust that open, okay? So obsess with learning. The fourth one is focus on creation over empty consumption. And I wanted that one after learning, because when I talk about empty consumption, I mean things like scrolling social media, zoning out and binge watching Netflix or streaming, porn, gambling sites, like anything that is draining your attention in just a mind-numbing way, and get back into some form of creation, whether it's just writing, whether it's photography, you're trying to just take cool pictures. Maybe you're posting things online. Maybe you're making videos. Maybe you're into woodworking, or maybe you're working on your car. Maybe you have a business idea. Maybe you want to help facilitate an event within your community. It doesn't matter so much. Just get back into some mode of creation, even in the tiniest amounts. Okay. Also, I just want to point out, if you want to lock in a new morning routine, just go ahead and check out the description, and there will be a link to download my perfect morning routine guide, just to get you started, more focus, more energy, get back on track and start the day off on the right foot. Okay, so check that out. Next up is setting a clear intention for the day. So as I was talking about in the morning routine, this is super important to focus on things that are in our control versus things that are not in our control. And with the intention, what we're doing is we're just setting our sights on something. We're giving ourselves a little bit of a runway that we can focus on during the day. So the intention is not a checklist item. It's not, hey, pick up dry cleaning, get the kids from school, make sure I call this many prospects. It's how you want to feel when you show up. Hey, I want to be present today with customers. I want to make the barista laugh. I want to really cultivate a sense of equanimity when I'm hanging out with my in-laws. I want to be a better listener today. I actually want to be more focused and present and be aware of where my attention is going, and not just, be, opening my phone to check notifications or anything like that. Okay. 6 is visualization. And it's so important for us that we don't just write it down, but we take time to sit with these thoughts, these new beliefs we're trying to bring in, these new goals that we want. Like, what is the best version of us? What is the best expression of us? What are things that we want to call into our lives, that we want to create, that we want to go out and build? And spending time every single day visualizing that. Not just giving it lip service, but sitting there almost like a meditation, right? Getting into a state where you're nice and present and centered, and allowing yourself to visualize yourself in the situations and in the future events that you want most for your life. And start doing that every single day and feeling into what it feels like to already have those. And the key piece with that is gratitude, which is the next step. Every single day, focusing on the things that you already have versus the things that you don't. This is the thing with most people and how the mind works. With my clients, I call it the survival mind. And I'm like, man, the main role of the survival mind is to look out for threats. And whether that is physical threats or psychological threats or social threats. And so what it does is it's always on guard. And it's always looking for, opportunities to really keep us in this chronic, stressful state. So it's looking for potential threats, sure, but also for things that we don't have. And it says, hey, I need to have that thing in order to fit in socially. And so when that runs on autopilot, and that's just our autopilot response, we have to be very intentional with switching that piece off. Okay? And we do that by focusing on the strongest feeling that we can cultivate, which is a sense of appreciation, which is a sense of gratitude. So it can be tiny. It doesn't have to be massive things. You can start with, like I tell my guys, I'm like, man, start with the shirt you're wearing. Start with being grateful that you have a favorite band, that you have a favorite song. How amazing is that? Imagine if somebody didn't like music. It can be anything. It's retraining your mind, again, to look for the things that you not only already have, but the things that you just love and you're so grateful for in your life. I know gratitude's pretty buzzwordy, especially right now, but there is a reason for it, and it is so, so powerful. Okay, so do these every day. The next one is optimizing your health. If you think of yourself like a F1 team, I don't even watch much F1, so we're going to see if I butcher this example, but your body is the race car, and how most people go through life is they treat it like shit. They don't change the tires, they don't check the oil, they don't, upgrade the body parts or the fenders or anything when they get into a little accident. They're treating their health like crap. And it impacts your energy, your focus, your mental health, your ability to emotionally regulate yourself, your motivation, your drive, your ambition to go out and create, to just be there, be present with your family, be a good partner. And so start optimizing your health so you can think, feel, and perform as best as possible, and better than 99% of the world, really. And so looking at things like strength training, getting exercise, making sure you're getting enough water every day. You could shoot for, 80 or 100 ounces. The number doesn't matter so much, but it's like making sure that you're prioritizing that. Eating clean food, avoiding ultra-processed food, getting enough protein, right? Avoiding things like junk food and sugar, right? Getting your sleep hygiene dialed in. Are you going to bed at a consistent time? Are you watching TV up until you go to sleep? Turn off screens an hour before bed and an hour after waking. Allow yourself to drop into a state of presence and connectedness with yourself, right? This is where we find the answers we're looking for to get unstuck. And you can't expect to feel your best, and to have this clarity and to have purpose and have ambition if you're not taking care of your health. Okay, so number 8, start optimizing your health. The next one, number 9, is start paying attention to the little pieces in life that bring you enthusiasm, the pieces that you're passionate about, right? I want you to think of, hey, is there a new hobby that I can maybe try out? Maybe it's picking up a guitar, trying drums, going to a gardening seminar. Maybe it's just writing a little bit. Maybe it's watercolor. It doesn't matter so much, but it is allowing this voice within you that is saying like, hey, this would be really cool to try. Or what if we did this over here? The voice that comes up before the waves of doubt, kind of tamp it down and put that fire out. Start paying attention to where those little flames of passion and enthusiasm come up before, again, you have this rational mind or logical mind that comes in and shuts it down. Okay, so pick a new hobby, follow the passion, and just start super small. Even if it doesn't stick, doesn't matter. Even if it doesn't work out, that's not the point. The whole point is to allow yourself to express creativity. Okay, and the last one is learning to listen to your inner voice and understand that the voice that you hear, that inner critic, is not actually your voice. You are not the voice in your head. You are simply the one that is aware of it. And when you get that, when you really, really get that, you'll notice all of these different voices speaking up and all of these different influences, almost like the angel and the devil on the shoulder. And your opportunity is to decide which one that you want to listen to. Which one of those voices do you actually want to feed? That is going to determine your ability to get unstuck. Your ability to start living more in alignment and more congruent with the true you, right? And allowing this part of you to actually speak, to come out, to express itself. So those are the 10 things to get unstuck. Try those out and let me know in the comments how it goes. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.